Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spooky Mountain. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Hi, Steph.
Hey, Jordi.
How you going?
Oh, I'm really good. Hot and
Yay.
sweaty.
Sweaty. It's so fucking hot.
It's nice. Yeah, it's a nice Australian humid summer.
It's so
We're all
gross.
super shiny, just glistening at each other through the webcam. It's fucked
We're
up.
glowing.
Literally glowing. Not by choice. Not by choice.
I am just sweating my balls off. There are so many mosquitoes in this because it's like a muggy, sticky heat. So many mosquitoes. I am just constantly getting bitten.
Yeah.
By
As soon as I go
mosquitoes.
outside, I've got those citronella coil things that I've just got
they're good.
pumping 24/7. Yeah.
I can never get those to burn properly. I have to light them.
Oh,
like,
you
a
have to hold the
million
lighter
times.
for like a minute.
Oh,
like,
for it to
you
light
make sure
properly.
your thumb is burning.
Burning off.
And then you're like, okay, my thumb's going to burn off. It's ready to go.
It's melted into the lighter. We're
Yeah,
good to go.
yeah.
Well, what have you got for us this
Yeah.
week? What's your story? I have no idea what your story is.
So we're doing a really, it's quite a simple story, but it's a UFO encounter.
Ooh,
and
yay.
it's a really, really fascinating encounter that happened a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a classic. And I don't think a lot of people do know about this, but I think
Okay.
people in the field kind of do know this. But it's a
Right.
really great little story. I love it. And I think, it's really exciting. And it's an Australian that experienced it as well.
Oh,
but he wasn't in
nice.
Australia when it happened. So, yeah.
It's been a while since you've done a UFO story, I think.
Oh, who knows?
Who knows?
I
It's
don't
just
know. I can't remember tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow.
tomorrow. Me neither.
Can't remember tomorrow. No fucking idea when it happened.
It's kind of just like a meshing of all different episodes now as well, that we're up to, what, 20, 21 or something?
21 now, I think. Yeah, I know. It doesn't seem... I don't even know. It's going so fast and so slow at the same
I
time.
know.
So what's your story this week?
Oh, mine is fun. Well, it's not necessarily fun, but it's it's fun for me to tell because it's an Australian story. It's from New South Wales.
Okay. Oh,
And-
local.
Yes, very local. I'm not going to say anything more than
Okay.
that because
Oh,
it
that's so
might give
cool.
away the location. I don't want to give away the
Okay.
location because
Okay.
you have for sure heard of at least this place. You may not have heard of the stories.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So
All
I've been
right.
wanting
Ooh.
to do this for a while. So yeah,
Great.
but it's not like super, super spooky, which is why it's taken a while for me to do it because sometimes when I feel like my stories aren't super spooky, I feel like
Oh,
I'm
see,
missing
I like
out on-
history and stuff though as well.
yeah.
You know, so
it's all encompassed in
Yeah.
one, So
Cool.
yeah, that's what my story is going to be.
okay, very good.
Yes, very exciting. I'm very excited to also listen to your story this week. But before we get into our stories, let's do housekeeping.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, you know the drill, everyone. If you're not following us on any of your social media, our social media platforms, make sure you get onto that. We also had our really fun YouTube episode that came out. It's also, you can listen to it, but we've got it on YouTube where you can see our faces, which is
Yeah.
all of your fun listener stories. So make sure you watch that.
It was really, really fun. We've decided that we're going to do video for all our listener episodes, which will be
Every now
every
and again.
now and then.
Yeah. I guess when we get a good amount of your stories, we'll do it.
Yeah. When we collect a good amount of stories, we'll put out one of those. And so that's going to be available for everyone to watch on YouTube, but we're going to be keeping our special kind of like holiday special episodes for Patreon only. So if you are interested in supporting us, the best way to support us is on Patreon. And we promise we're going to give you some good shit if you're on Patreon. We put a lot of effort into our Patreon stuff.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We've got 4 amazing patrons at the moment, so thank you so much to you guys.
Yes.
You know who you are.
Yes.
And we've got some good stuff on there already. We've got some behind-the-scenes photos. We've got a video. We've got a couple of videos. Yeah. Jordi's done a kind of like a start of the year blog post.
Yeah, so that's going to be like once a month. I'll do the blog post. Yep. We have our Christmas video up there. So
yeah, the Christmas one's really fun. That was the Drunk as Fuck one, wasn't it?
That was the Drunk as Fuck episode.
Yeah, that was fun. And the Discord as well, which is starting to really pop off. There's a lot of fucking weird stories happening on there. So
a lot of poo stories.
Our
Christmas episode, which I do actually have to tell you another one during this recording. And it is
I'm here for it, yeah.
All right. Okay, how about we smash through the rest of our housekeeping and then I'll get into my poo-poo story.
Sounds good.
So, another thing that we just have to mention is that, well, I'll mention it, is that if you haven't listened to our last episode, the listener episode, you're not really going to know what I'm talking about right now. But I have an update from Tara's story. So Tara's story was the one with the clowns in her house when she was a kid.
How could you
Super creepy. Fucking hell, that was a very scary story. So it's a very, very quick little update. So I asked her whether she thinks it's the house or like what these clowns are, and she doesn't think it's the house at all.
Okay.
She believes that they're almost like messengers. They're there to deliver messages to her, and they're also kind of like protectors of some kind. So they're there to maybe like send a message. So almost like a guardian of some sort.
Yeah, and I guess they kind of like appear to what you would recognize. I guess because if you're a kid, like a clown kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. And I guess it's kind of her also just saying that she doesn't think it's like a ghost of a clown that used to be alive or anything like that. So she does think it is kind of, a little messenger just coming along to give her a little message.
Yeah, it's nothing. Okay, that makes me feel a bit better.
It was pretty fucking scary, though.
I was really scared of that one.
Yeah,
that really freaked me out.
Yeah, go listen to it, everyone, if you haven't listened to that one. It's probably one of my favorite listener stories that we had from that episode. And also, so with our episodes, as you might know, we put relevant photos on our social media, and with Tara's story with the clown, we're going to be putting up a photo of a clown that looks similar to the one that she saw, and the photo that we're going to be putting up, it's actually the photo that she sent us to kind of show what kind of clown it looks like.
Oh,
so that isn't just like a random photo that we've chosen.
That's actually one where she's like, that's it.
That's what it fucking looks like. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's creepy. That one is very creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. Kind of old style sepia brown clown.
It's filthy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hit me with your poo story.
Oh, God, I forgot I was telling it. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I didn't forget.
All right, so for our Christmas episode, I did tell the story about Panda, my daughter, dropping a poo in my house, and then said poo being...
Dropping a nug.
She dropped a fucking massive nug.
Oh, yeah, more than a nug.
It was a log. It was a log. And it somehow got trekked all around the house, and I spent many hours cleaning literal shit from my carpets. Anyway, I have one-upped this experience.
How? Okay.
So the other day I was sitting at my kitchen table and I was doing podcast stuff. I was typing away, and where my kitchen table is, I can look onto our back deck where there's a little like swimming pool for her and like a bunch of really fun toys and everything. She just stands out there naked because she's like splashing around and, you know, getting soggy and everything all day. So fantastic. Lots of fun. That is until she started crying, and I was like,
oh no,
what's going on, babe girl? What's going on?
Yeah.
I walk over to her and she's got her tongue kind of sticking out of her mouth a little bit. Like I thought she had bitten her tongue.
Yeah.
I thought that she had like hurt her mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. I wish that she had fucking bitten her tongue.
Me too.
You know where I'm going with this. I look into her mouth and she had decided to eat her poo. She ate her poo. She had dropped, again, two massive logs on the back deck. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this girl.
out of the pool.
She got out of the pool, dropped,
to do a poo.
Yep, massive.
Put it in her mouth
poos.
and back in the pool.
Yeah, and then she realised how bad it tasted, and so she just started crying.
Learning
and
curve.
I was like, what do I do? She was like gripping onto me and like breathing on my face with her poo breath.
Oh, yeah, poo breath.
And she had poo breath, and I had to scrape it off her tongue, and I was like freaking out. I had to like splash it with water, but then I realised there was like poo in the water as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just grabbed a drink bottle and tried to like rinse it off her tongue.
Oh my.
And it was just like freaking her out more. So I just grabbed a bunch of blackberries from the fridge and just like shoved them into her mouth just to like.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Yeah.
To rinse the poo taste out from. So yeah, I literally have a shit eater as a daughter.
Like
so.
I don't know what the consistency of a poo would be like, but I've eaten clay before because I'm an idiot, and I was like 13 and I got dared to eat a chunk of clay in art class.
Oh yeah.
And it took me so long to get the clay out of my mouth, and I can kind of feel like that's what poo would be like.
Yes, and even texture-wise, I feel
the
like...
texture, more of the texture. Like it coated your whole tongue, the back of your tongue, all between your teeth, and you can't get it out.
That's what it was like. Even after I got, all the solid matter out of her mouth, there was still just like her mouth was brown. It was just like saliva, like poo saliva floating around her mouth. But I'm so sorry if I have just brought too much poo onto this podcast, but I'm a mother and this is what happens.
I'm sure, look, as we know from the last episode, a lot of people are relating to the poo stories. So,
yes.
even if you don't have a kid like me, I deal with cat poo like all the time. I deal with my own poo all the time.
You're
it's a struggle,
cat mother. It's a hard life
not
sometimes.
in the sense that I'm eating my own poo, but
lies. I don't believe it.
Well, I had a very different week from you. I had a really fun week.
Oh, okay. What did you do?
Yeah, like everyone's getting COVID, as we know. Like everyone's just
literally everyone.
Oh, it's just fucked. Yeah. So, and a lot of my friends don't live near me, so every now and again we hop online and we, play some video games together. And the other night, it was a few nights ago, me and my friend decided, let's just go onto Steam and just see what cheap, fun game we can get. And we found a game called Chupacabra Night Hunt.
Ooh,
and it was $1.50. It was on sale.
Okay.
And you take turns. So it's like kind of like Slender Man. It's in the dark. It's in, the forest. And there's like little cabins everywhere. And you take in turns. So one person is the hunter and you've got a little knife, and then one person is the chupacabra. And you're the chupacabra, you've got to find the hunter and kill him.
Oh, I thought it was going to be vice versa.
Well, it's the other way. It can go both ways, but the chupacabra, now we didn't know this at the start, because when we first played, we were both the hunter, both trying to kill the chupacabra, and then we realized, we can do it where we're against each other.
Yeah.
And I was the chupacabra first, and it was so fucking scary. The whole vision goes like it's like a green filter over the screen, and you can see these like big lizard hands in front of you, and it just runs at full speed.
Oh, wow.
So it's hard to kind of focus on something because you're so fast, and there's like random goats everywhere, and you have to try and kill the goats, and every time you're a chupacabra and you kill a goat, you get some sort of like superpower, which helps you find.
I've never heard of this game.
I know it's like really not actually that great, but it Yeah, it was $1.50, but it
That's
was
pretty
still really
good
fun.
for
We were like,
$1.50.
yeah, we were screaming because it was so funny. Because we just didn't understand it for so long. And then one of my other friends, Ailey, who's a friend of the podcast, she ended up joining us, and we got into Second Life, which is something. Have you ever played Second Life before?
Is Second Life like it's like a little character that jumps around? It's almost like a front on, how do you say?
Oh, like a 2D kind of thing?
Yeah, like
Not at
front
all.
on, or is it a little shadow
Not at all.
person? No, okay. I feel like I have played this, but I think I'm getting it mixed up with something else.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but Second Life is literally like the most popular. You know how like the whole metaverse is like a thing now?
Yeah.
Like Second Life is that. So it is an online world, and it is so fucking big that you literally make your own online avatar. You know, like Habbo Hotel and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Second Life is like real shit. People have full-time jobs in Second Life. They make a store where they design avatar clothes, and you go into the shop, buy it, give them real money for clothes for your character. Like, it's unbelievably in depth. So
this is so different to what I was picturing.
Funny. I've got to upload these pictures. I did do a couple on my personal page, but I think it's so funny. So me, Ailey, and our other friend Phil, we made our characters like really fucked up. They just look so fucking scary because we couldn't really figure out like how to use the game properly. Yeah. And everyone in Second Life takes things seriously. So we found this nightclub world where it's like a full nightclub. There's people in a dance floor dancing.
Right.
And we're in the middle of this dance floor flicking through like the menu, and our clothes are changing and stuff. All of a sudden my character's on a fucking horse, and I have no idea. I was
Did you get kicked out of the club?
Well, we did end up getting kicked out. Phil was naked, and they said, you're exposing too much skin. And then I've got 2 messages from them saying, excuse me, you can't have your horse here. And I'm like, oh my God.
They're taking it so seriously.
It's so funny. I will upload some pictures because I try to make mine look really scary, but it does look really scary, but really funny at the same time.
And it's so different to what I was picturing, but that sounds pretty fun though.
It's super, super fun. It's super fun. Yeah.
I can imagine exactly how people would get just like so absorbed into it.
There's a Netflix documentary on it. It's called Second Life. You should actually definitely watch it. It's about people that have pretty much ruined their lives from this game.
Have you ever heard of Rust? The game Rust? Yeah.
I never played it though.
It's pretty good. My boyfriend is like fucking addicted to it. Like,
you know what? That makes sense because your Discord always says playing Rust. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think so.
No, but I've played it though because I have a laptop now that can play games.
Yes, true.
My special new laptop. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty good, but
once you die though, don't you? Is that the one?
Yeah,
it's like survival horror?
Kind of. So you like set up bases and stuff, and so when you die, you lose all your shit. But you can go back to your base, but your base can get raided really easily if you don't like upkeep your base. It deteriorates, and so it kind of just like it's like perfect for the gaming addict because you need to be kind of constantly logging on to like
not get fucked over.
And it's just
that sounds so dangerous.
Oh yeah, it is. It's so dangerous. Like I love it, but I haven't gotten that fully addicted to it because
like you play it more. I think it's one of those games where you have to invest heaps of time really for it to really be good. Because otherwise you're just stressing out going, I don't have time to fucking play this game. There's no...
Well, that's exactly right. Like, I started playing really because, like, Phil, my boyfriend, you know, he was, like, super invested in it. And he was like, you should play this game. And I started playing and I love it. But, you know, we'll play for, like, an hour and I'm like, oh, this has just wrecked me. I'm so tired. Yeah. And then, like, I don't log on to it for a few days and, like, you know, I have to start all over again because, like, my base is all, deteriorated.
That would piss me off.
Yeah.
But it sounds really fun, but yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. We should definitely get on Twitch and play some games, you know.
I think so. Yeah, I've still got Chupacabra Night Hunt, so we should definitely play that because it's super fun on Twitch. And I got this other game. It's now past the Christmas time, but it's called Christmas Massacre.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Well, yeah, I gave it a little test run, and I'm really not sure what I bought, but we should give it a go at some point.
Yeah.
I thought it was your Santa, and you have to kill as many children as possible, like elves.
Oh my God.
It's really grim, but the graphics are like super shit. But I played it like 5 minutes, and I didn't see anyone else. Except for who I was.
Right, so it is like an online game.
No, it's not online.
Oh.
So, yeah, you're in like a house, and I was like walking around this house, and I was like, I cannot find anyone, and then I just stopped. So I have no idea. So
the name of it sounds very fun.
I know, Christmas Massacre.
Christmas
Absolutely.
Massacre.
Oh, that's why I got it. I was like, hell yeah.
Maybe you're a child that you has to like. Oh no, are you can see that you're Santa though. You can see that you're Santa in the game.
I am. I don't know. I look like I'm Santa, but also a child. It's very fucking weird.
That's weird.
Can't explain it. Oh, but anyway, I think I need to get into my story because we're getting way too
off the fucking rails.
Yeah, it's just insane.
All right, yes. Let's get into your story.
All right. So tonight I'm going to be talking about a really cool UFO incident that I mentioned earlier. And it happened in Papua New Guinea, and it was 1959, so quite a while ago now. But it's still one of the most amazing sightings and interactions ever recorded due to the fact that so many people witnessed
Oh,
this.
I love these
heaps
ones.
Of people involved, yeah.
This is reminding me already of the aerial school incident in Rua. The Rua. Yeah. One of our first stories.
I know, it's so good when you've got multiple witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
So during this time, it's in the middle of summer, and Father William Gill, who was 31 at the time, he was running the Australian Anglican mission in Papua New Guinea. So he was there along with a couple of others who were stationed in the village. The mission was stationed at Boianai, which is surrounded by large rainforests and mountains, and it sits right on the coast, so it's like a beach as well. It's fucking amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was looking it up on Google Maps. It's really isolated, but it's very thick, tropical, mountainous jungle, and it's just beautiful. It kind of like, but once it gets down to the coast, it's quite flat. There's like agriculture, and then just like lots of little splattered villages everywhere.
I can kind of picture exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So it's we're all kind of in this little village here. And one night, Father Gill's assistant, Stephen Moy, told him that he had just seen an inverted saucer-shaped object, and it was hovering right above the mission. Father Gill tells Moy it must be Venus, as it should be incredibly bright in the sky. However, as they head down to the beach to get a clearer view, they can see Venus and the object.
Oh, both in the same...
They're both in the sky.
Frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're both looking at it. They can see, Venus is very clear. He goes, okay, that's Venus. So I have no idea what that is.
That is, yeah.
So they were looking at it for about a minute or so, and then it just disappeared. So Father Gill didn't really think too much into this. So he kind of just went about his night as normal. Now, this wasn't the only UFO encounter he had heard of at this point, because many of the villagers were actually saying to him that they've been seeing similar lights in the sky and strange objects. But, he didn't really think too much of it. And, I guess little did Father Gill know that he would be the main person to see the following events unfold. On July 29th, Father Gill sent a letter to David Jury, who was an acting principal at St. Aidan's College. He received the following letter. There have been quite a number of reports over the months from reliable witnesses. The peculiar thing about these most recent reports is that the UFOs seem to be stationary at Boianai or to travel from Boianai. I myself saw a stationary white light twice on the same night on April 9th. The assistant district officer, Bob Smith, and Mr. Glover have seen it as well. I do not doubt the existence of these things, but my simple mind still requires scientific evidence before I can accept from the outer space theory. I am inclined to believe that probably many UFOs are more likely some form of electric phenomena, or perhaps something brought about by the atom bomb explosions, etc. That Stephen should actually make out a saucer could be the work of the unconscious mind, as it is very likely that at some time he has seen these illustrations of some kind in a magazine, but it's all too difficult to understand for me. I prefer to wait for some bright boy to catch one to be exhibited in Martin Place. Yours doubting, William.
Oh, what a fantastic letter, or, piece of writing.
Yeah. So that was like the first kind of letter that that David Jury received off him, and was like, okay, this is
right.
An interesting thing.
Sorry, just quickly, the person who wrote that, he was someone on the mission, right?
That's Father Gill. So Father Gill wrote that, who's at the mission. Yeah.
It's so great to hear someone who is like part of a church talking about just even briefly science, and just
I know, right?
It's a scientific thing. It's not Jesus, and
Yeah, that's it. I know. I love it too. This is why this is such a great encounter.
Great story. Yeah.
So he's definitely seen something himself, but whether he's convinced at this point or not, he's definitely curious enough. He's writing a letter about it. So just over a month later, which is now the 26th of June, and Father Gill has actually written another letter. Dear David, life is strange, isn't it? Yesterday, I wrote you a letter expressing opinions regarding the UFOs. Now, less than 24 hours, I have changed my views somewhat.
Ooh,
last
juicy.
Last night, we at Boianai experienced about 4 hours of UFO activity, and there is no doubt whatsoever that they are handled by beings of some kind.
Oh, wow.
At times, it was absolutely breathtaking. Here is the report. Cheers. Convinced Bill. P.S. Do you think P. Moresby should know about this? If people think it worthwhile, I will stand the cost of a radio conversation if you care to make out a comprehensive report from the material on my behalf.
Oh,
so
another great letter.
Yeah, that's right. So he does say, like, I spoke to you yesterday. That was another letter he sent. But because there's been quite a few little ones here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love the cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. It's great that he had his first letter that was like, I don't know, it's just,
it's reported. Yeah,
something
it's like
explainable. Or for him, it was something explainable, and then to the other person, he's kind of being like, oh, it's just him thinking that he's seeing a saucer. But now he's like, no, this is what happened. This is what happened.
So he sent a very large report, but pretty much I'm going to, summarize the whole thing of what happened. Okay. So this is what happened. So Father Gill, he was informed of a really bright light in the sky heading towards the mission. Many of the villagers at this point were also aware of the recent occasional sightings, so this became really exciting. And they all gathered with Father Gill down at the beach to watch the light get closer. There were around 25 people, including Stephen Moy and another teacher named Ananias Rarata, who all signed sworn statements of the following event. The object got so close, it eventually stopped 100 meters above the mission and stayed stationary. It looked like a disc-shaped UFO. They quoted it as being around the size of 5 full moons. Wow. And it had 4 legs underneath that looked like landing gear. and they could see that it was very physical and solid. It was definitely a solid object. It had a really wide base and it tapered up to a deck section at the top, and it had 4 brightly lit panels on the side.
Okay.
It was quite close, so they got a very good detail.
Yeah, they were able to see like the legs underneath.
Absolutely. They all reported the same thing. So they all were like, yep, that's exactly what I saw. Yep. Every now and again as well, the object would emit like a bright blue beam, like a spotlight, but from the top of the craft, and it would just like shoot up into the sky at like a 45-degree angle. So that would happen every now and again.
Right.
Which is weird. But as they were all staring at this, they noticed 4 humanoid beings had emerged from the object and were standing on the deck.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Every now and again, that bright blue light would shine from above the UFO. After around 25 minutes of this, the UFO slowly raised up into the clouds and they no longer could see it. Many of the witnesses still stuck around to see if anything else would happen. I'd definitely be one of them. I'd be like, I'm sleeping on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
And good thing they did, as later on that evening, a few other smaller UFOs had appeared in the sky in the same spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So many UFOs.
Yeah. So the sun was just starting to set at that point, and yeah, there was 2 other smaller UFOs alongside the large one. So that slowly appeared as well. One of the smaller ones was over the hills to the west, and one of them was directly over them with the main one. So it was kind of like next to the big one. All of the objects were hovering in the same spot. And as everyone was watching, Father Gill still was unsure what was happening. He states at the time he honestly thought it was secret government planes or an experiment, because only 2 years prior, they actually released the first satellite. So there really wasn't much to go off at that point. Like, it was 59.
And even with a satellite, like, imagine seeing nothing like a satellite before and then seeing a satellite for the first time. It would seem like so alien, literally. It would seem like a UFO.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, that's not, I don't know, like, it's definitely not. Yeah, like, we know they move as well, and these were just completely still.
Yeah. And again, he kind of explained that you could tell that they were being kind of manned by something.
Yeah, that's right.
When they were moving,
So they could see that the same large object had the beings on the top like last time. And some of them, they noticed the beings, so they were all there, and they could see them bending down a lot, and it looked like they were kind of setting something up or doing repairs on the ship. There's a lot of them were like, it looked like they were setting up or preparing something, and some were saying, they were doing repairs on the ship. It's very strange. I know.
Or seeing a UFO is one thing, but then being able to kind of see beings
doing it's a bit too
on
much.
So much of a next level of an encounter,
scary.
you know.
So most of them were just doing this, and then they noticed there was one of them who was on the edge of the deck, and he was looking down at them, and he was like looking at them. And so Father Gill waved his arm up above him to say hello. He literally just waved at it.
G'day.
He's like, hi. And to the surprise of everyone, it waved back in response. And they were like, what the fuck?
They know to wave back.
It waved back at him.
Wow.
So then his friend, Ananias, waved both his arms up and like above his head, just like crazy, was waving it. And then 2 other figures responded the same way.
Fuck.
Yeah. So now everyone is waving, and all the 4 humanoids are waving back, and everyone's excited and
everyone's
verbally gasping.
And...
Yeah, everyone's like, wow, this is so cool. This is really cool. And while this is happening, Father Gill asks one of the other people there, he's like, hey, go back and get my torch. Can you go back up to the hut and get my torch? So once he comes back, gives him his torch, Father Gill starts waving the torch left to right, just slowly, in a slow movement, left to right, just swaying back and forth. And about a minute or two into doing this, the ship starts to move in like a pendulum fashion and starts moving alongside with the torch, going left to right, left to right. Yeah. So it started to move like that. And everyone was just like, what the hell is happening? This is crazy.
Very interesting, but quite creepy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I would respond to that situation at all.
No, because that's a lot to see.
It's quite
like a big
close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Close, and it's it's almost just like, I don't think this was its intention, but it's showing what it's capable of doing.
Yeah, that's a good
which
point.
Which is a bit intimidating, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So the UFO then started to, while it was moving, it started to slowly creep towards them. And then it just stopped. And the figures on top decided that they're going to go back inside the craft. Probably they lost interest in what they were doing. They're like, all right, we're done.
Bored.
So they go back inside. So everyone's still there watching. A few minutes later, 2 more of the beings come back out again, start working on the craft again, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. And the blue beam starts coming out, doing its thing. And this happened for about another 10 minutes. So Father Gill decided, look, I'm just going to go have my dinner. It was about like 7:30
No way.
this time. Yeah.
It's like the most incredible thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. So most people like really give him a lot of shit for this. They're like, what do you mean you just went back to dinner? He's like, you got to understand at this point, I really thought that this was like Australian or American technology or like a hovercraft. He's like, they looked very human to me. The object was so physical. He was like, this is what, it's something, it's humans.
That's
like,
what made sense for him.
Yeah. So he's just like, look, not much was happening. It was quite late. It was going all day most of the time on and off. So he's like, I'm going to go and have my dinner.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of people gave him shit for that.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, hang on.
Hang on a second.
So, now he's eaten his dinner. The UFO at this point had slowly moved further away, and many of the villagers had actually gone into church as well because they were sticking with their evening schedule. But as they came out of the church, they could barely see the UFO anymore, as many of the clouds had covered it up, and everyone now had gone to bed. And it was about 10:45 p.m. and everyone was woken up by an ear-splitting explosion.
Oh, shit.
Father Gill said it was nothing like a bolt of lightning. It was a completely different noise. It was absolutely insane.
Right.
But not lightning. So no way. There was nothing like that.
Okay.
Now, this is actually the last bit of the encounter. It just ended with that, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, there was nothing else after this. So, he kind of finalized his whole report of what happened. The event was in all of the newspapers, as you can imagine. Of course. Everyone was talking about it. It was just absolutely crazy. A lot of people, of course, did question the legitimacy of the incident. However, Father Gill was a highly respected man alongside his colleagues, and there was a large number of witnesses there as well. So this couldn't be really put under the rug, this situation.
Especially with so many witnesses.
Yeah. So, Father Gill, he was an educated man, as I said. He went to Trinity Grammar School in Melbourne. He studied theology at St. Francis College of Brisbane. He studied education.
Yeah, so he's educated, well-respected.
Yeah, he was in Papua New Guinea for ages, and then from then on, when he moved on from Papua New Guinea, he was still doing education, and then he started studying more. Like, he knows what he's fucking doing. He's not...
Yeah. You can kind of tell the difference between someone who is just kind of like had an experience and they're reporting it, as opposed to someone that is kind of in it for an ulterior motive.
Yes. Yeah,
so to say,
that's right. Yeah. So, as you can imagine, the Australian Parliament had taken his account very seriously, and they got the Defence Ministry to send out 2 Royal Australian Air Force officers to investigate the location. They found Father Gill to be a very reliable observer, but they ended up saying that this is all just natural phenomena, and it was the result of a cloudy, thunder-prone day, and it was light refraction from Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. That's what they actually wrote in the report. They're like, no, it's nothing. You saw nothing. It was just,
How could you, like, the extent of the denial is so
it's disturbing.
Ridiculous to have such a large group of people see something so solid. And they saw humanoid things.
Responded to them back, like, what are you talking about?
And the pendulum moving, like the movement of the craft, like,
oh, it's exhausting. It's
exhausting. Because but this almost, sorry, I don't want to
go ahead.
Take away from your story too much, but just the fact that they're so in denial about all this stuff. Makes it seem more obvious that there's something going on, because it's like, why would you go to such extents to deny shit?
They're saying they
like
saw
this,
them do repairs on the ship. I'm sorry. Like,
And they were waving at them. This isn't light refraction.
You're like, you're better off saying nothing instead of being like, oh,
it was just a thundery day.
It was a bit cloudy. Jupiter was looking a little bit big that night.
This is fucking Jupiter, That's
it's fucked up. Oh, and also J.L.N. Hynek, we love him. We love him very much. He works on Project Blue Book, and he was working for them at this time. He investigated the events as well. And he actually said it was a genuine experience. He said he couldn't come up with any other explanation as to, they saw what they saw. It must have happened because he couldn't do it.
There's no other excuse, reasoning behind it. Yeah.
Yep. That's right. So that was really kind of refreshing. Sadly, Father Gill, he passed away in 2007, but he stuck by his story the whole time alongside all the other witnesses.
Yep.
But it'll always be an incredible interaction with aliens, and it's so rare that you hear something so in-depth. But, for an encounter to go for hours as well, which is awesome, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool story. Also, the fact that he wasn't straight off the bat saying it was a UFO, it was aliens. He thought it was some kind of government aircraft.
Yeah.
And I guess thinking about it, it probably would have been, as time went on, he would have realised that it wasn't just due to, I don't know, people being like, oh, no, that's not what it was, or kind of he would have gained knowledge of some kind that there was no, things going on at that time. Like, he was
hearing stories for, like, I don't know how, it must have been, like, weeks or something, but people telling him nearly every day, oh, there's, like, lights in the sky, they look really strange, and he, for ages, he's going, no,
whatever,
passing it on, and then it kind of got to a point where it's like, okay, maybe I'll just kind of mention what's happening here. Yeah, I saw something too, but I don't know. I think that's really important that gets included in the story. Like,
I think it does legitimize the information in the story a lot because, as I said, there's a big difference. Like, although if, there was to be a person that was like, we saw a fucking UFO in the sky and there were aliens on it, I don't think that is less legitimate than someone else, being like, oh, I think it was just government aircraft. But it does kind of add something.
It does,
truthful to it,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's, I don't know. I love that story.
That's such a great story. Great. I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of that. And so he's Australian. He was an Australian guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I because he went to
he studied in Melbourne and Brisbane
and
in New South Wales as well. So he's Australian, and I think he was in Papua New Guinea for like maybe a couple years or something.
Yeah, okay.
He had a mission there, but it's a fun one. I love stuff like that. I've got lots more, so
Oh yeah, it makes me wonder as well why some unidentified flying objects appear at certain areas. Why are they in this spot? What is attracting them?
Such a small, isolated... Like, this village is tiny. If you look it on Google Maps, like, if you type in Boianai, it literally just put a pin in the middle of the forest where there is not a single road nearby. And I was like, wait, what? And then I found this other article where they took me closer to the coast. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And it's still very tiny, like
small.
Like shacks and stuff. Like, makes no sense.
And so why are they there? I wonder, this is a very wild guess, but I wonder if there's some kind of like something in the ground that they want. Is there some kind of resource that they need and they're checking out the area? Because I can't imagine, or maybe they're just like observing people at a certain level
It could be because someone down there, they really wanted to like alert for some reason. And also there's a whole thing about, you know, so many UFO encounters are to do with the water. That a lot of them, there's like underwater bases for UFOs. It's like the whole underwater theory. A lot of them could just be like lurking around the water, and it's just a common place that they're kind of interested in.
Yeah,
but
because that's
knows?
where their bases are anyway, like in the water. That makes sense. Oh, it's very interesting. I remember talking to someone a while ago about whether they believed in like aliens and UFOs. And if they do believe in them, like, why do they think that they're here? And this person responded with, I believe they need our gold.
Oh, yes. I've heard of that theory.
I haven't heard the theory. And I was like, but I kind of feel like they would be able to get gold in other ways. They wouldn't need our gold. But maybe it's not a resource that's available in other planets.
It's more of like an ancient aliens kind of theory about harvesting our gold because they need it for something else, so we're the only ones that have it. But because we've dug so much of it up, it's like hard to get it. And they made, I think there's like the whole theory of we're like an alien slave race. They made us to harvest their gold.
For them.
Yeah. It goes deep. Yeah, maybe I'll do it one day.
We should. That's a whole episode on it.
It goes very deep. Yeah.
We should do like an ancient alien themed episode sometime.
I own all of the seasons on DVD. It's fucked.
There's so many episodes.
What's
his name? George.
I can't pronounce this. It's a very Greek last name.
It's so Greek.
Yeah.
We should get him on the show.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't even know what to ask him. Yeah.
No, he would just talk and talk, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So time for my story. I'm very excited for this one.
I have no idea what you're going to talk about.
No. So you do know this place, but I don't know if you know the story. So this week, I'm going to be telling a few different stories that are from one location. It's very close to my heart, and it might even be close to your heart too. It's a location from the Blue Mountains, only about an hour and a half drive from my house. And it's a place that most people from the mountains have been to, but they at least know of it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Any ideas just yet as to...
I've got some things popping up in my head, definitely.
Throw them at me. What are you thinking?
Okay, I've got the Renaissance Centre in Katoomba, which is like a really scary place. And then I've also got the Wentworth Falls Hospital, the abandoned hospital.
Oh, yeah?
I've got... there's a lot of like some other, I don't know, I don't want to say anymore.
Okay, well it's not those places.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be talking about the ghostly occurrences of the Jenolan Caves.
Oh my God, I've never even been to the Jenolan Caves.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I know. Everyone's like, you're not from the Blue Mountains. If you've never, I'm like, I don't know, I've never been.
Oh, fucking hell, we have to go.
Absolutely. I've really wanted to go for a long time. We were actually going to go for our anniversary, and it was just before COVID started, and we were like, no.
It's incredible. Like, I'll go into it a little bit in my story, but there's just you can't even describe what they're like. They just have like just such an energy to them, and I know that sounds fucking. I've
heard many people say that they're like, it is out of worldly, like it's amazing,
so incredible.
I really, really, really would love to go. I don't know how I've avoided it for so long.
Yeah, just you walk away just feeling like you've been affected by something. Like, not like affected by a ghost or whatever, but affected by, like, there's something very special about this place, you know? So if people listening, if you've never been to the caves, or heard of the caves, I'm sure there's plenty of people who have never heard of them. I'm just going to do a little bit of a lowdown on what they're about, because there's a lot of information behind them. I'm just going to touch on it a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Jenolan Caves, they're Australia's largest and most spectacular cave system. And they're actually, it only starts there. They're actually the most ancient open cave system in the whole world.
What?
Yes, and the most ancient limestone cave system in the world as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. This cave system is fucking massive.
No,
so,
I had no clue. Okay.
Yeah. The system itself, it hasn't even been fully explored yet, but currently there have been 400 caves discovered at the location, with only 11 of those which are open to tourists. The caves are filled with stalactites and stalagmites formed over millions of years, alongside water-carved, ribbon-shaped limestone walls, and huge, deathly steep drops down cliff walls within the cave. Yeah. And it has over 300 entrances that we know of, although there's probably way more than that due to the fact that we haven't explored even a fraction of the caves.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the biggest. It's one of the biggest cave systems in the world. A while ago, I actually saw an estimate of how big they think these caves are, like the whole system, but I couldn't find it while researching my story. So I'm kicking myself because it was like a kind of scientifically estimated, approximation of how large the cave system is. But yeah, if I end up finding it, we can post it on social media.
Yeah, definitely.
So the First Nations people of this area, who are the Gundungurra and the Wiradjuri mob, they used the caves for thousands of years as a healing area. Actually, it wasn't exactly the caves themselves, but the subterranean waters within the caves that are believed to be healing waters.
Oh, okay.
The local mob would take their sick or elderly to the waters within the cave for their curative properties. The word Jenolan actually comes from the Wiradjuri word Jenolan, which means high place. And the Gundungurra have their own word for the caves, which is Binamia, which means the dark place.
Oh, no.
Which is a bit ominous.
Yes.
To be honest.
A bit, yeah.
Yes. In terms of European exploration, it was around 1838 that a man named James Whalen was tracking an escaped convict around the area and happened upon just one of the entrances to the caves. He just happened to come across it. After this, the caves went through many years of early and extensive tourism, exploration, roads and trekking paths being constructed in and out of the area. And in 1898, a number of years after European exploration of the area, the Jenolan House was built, which would house the keeper of the caves,
Right.
who at the time was J.C. Wybird, also known as James Wybird. JC will come up again later in our stories, as well as the Jenolan Caves house, so put a pin in that because we're coming back to it.
All right.
The keeper of the caves was basically the person that would always be at the location overseeing the well-being and the protection of the caves, pretty much. I could literally just talk forever about the geography, history, and layout of Jenolan Caves, but I think it's about time we go into the spooky shit of the story, the real meat of the story. So the company that runs tours at Jenolan Caves actually has a paranormal tour on their books that is very popular.
Oh, have you done that?
No, I haven't. I've done lots of other like regular tours through different caves, but I haven't. I've been wanting to do the ghost one for a while. I heard it's really good.
Yeah, that would be cool.
The tour begins by taking you through the apparently haunted Jenolan Caves house that I mentioned before, and then throughout various hotspot areas of the cave system but never with an exact route being planned for the tour. So it's never an exact tour that you're taken on. It's just kind of, here or there throughout the caves.
Yeah, all right.
It's actually been reported multiple times that people have been staying in the accommodation at the Jenolan Caves house, and they have heard the running and the playing of little children in the hallway. This has been reported time and time again. And members of staff at the Caves house say that, yes, this is a regular occurrence in the accommodation.
Oh. Do you think there'd be many children there? Like actual children? I doubt it.
I doubt it.
That's
maybe
what makes it creepy to me. That's probably,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. But sometimes these noises are so loud that they would wake up staff members asleep in their own rooms.
Whoa.
So pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Trish Sanders, who has been the house's front of desk for over 8 years, has experienced so many weird things all throughout her experience at the caves, even aside from the phantom kids' noises in the hallways.
Right.
She says that also every now and then guests report seeing a little girl between the ages of 6 to 8 wearing a long white dress, black leather boots, and holding a porcelain doll.
Oh, God. Classic.
And this is something that Trish has seen as well. Trish Sanders from front of desk, front of house, sorry. So this little girl, she's mainly been seen in the hallways of the guest house where these loud noises are also heard, but she's also been spotted within the caves themselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is creepy. I find that to be very creepy.
Yeah, she's
like,
made it
what are you
into the
doing?
Fucking cave?
Yeah, what are you doing in the caves, girl?
How far is it from the house to the cave?
So it's probably like a 500-meter walk from maybe not even. No, not even.
Okay.
200 meters.
Right.
That was a big difference in meters, but yeah, like 200 meters from the house.
Okay, yeah.
To the Grand Arch, which is kind of where you go into to go into a lot of the entrances to the caves.
Okay. Yeah.
200 meters, yeah. 150, 200 meters. So one day, a lady approached Trish and she claimed she was a medium and able to be in contact with spirits. She said there was a little girl named Emily who was wandering the halls, and she had actually drowned in the Blue Lake, and she was searching for her mother. And so it's thought that this is maybe the girl that has been seen. And the Blue Lake, it's situated just outside the Grand Arch entrance to the caves, and it's a big, beautiful, bright blue lake that houses platypus and all sorts of beautiful native Australian animals. And it also has a very high mineral content as well.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why it would be so blue, I guess.
I think so. I think that's why it's so blue. Some people say that water, such as lakes, rivers, etc., attracts spirit sometimes, but water that has a higher than average mineral content is apparently even more powerful in doing so.
Oh.
And it's also believed that limestone attracts and holds spirit, and the Jenolan Caves are a limestone cave system as well. So these are just a couple of things that kind of...
It's all coming together,
charge the area spiritually, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
One woman explained one evening while she was on a tour in the caves that the night before, while she was staying at the accommodation at the caves house in room 211, she had her own very creepy, seemingly paranormal experience. To her horror, she witnessed a ghostly woman's arm come through the door to her room. No body, just an arm that had lace at the cuff of the delicate silk-like sleeve on the arm.
Ew.
Yeah, just through her front door to her hotel room.
I hate that. That is so creepy. Oh
I
my God.
know. What would you do?
Oh my God. You slap the hand away. Get
Go away. Out.
Yeah. Grab it.
Rack off. Another very strange story coming from the Caves house is that of a family that came to visit Jenolan Caves with their 2 young daughters. Mm-hmm. They were staying on the 2nd floor of the Caves house, but the girls pestered their mother to go up to the 3rd floor to explore, just like little kids do.
Okay, yeah.
But the mother insisted that there was nothing to see there, as it was just the same as the 2nd floor, so they never went up.
Was she scared? The mum was scared.
Probably. She was probably fucking terrified. It's such an old building.
I'd be
it's
the same. I'm like, we're not fucking leaving the room.
Nah, not with ghost arms coming through the doors and
You
little
guys
kids.
haven't heard of ghost arm and it shows.
Yeah, exactly. So a few years later, this family, they visited Jenolan again and reminisced about their previous visit. One of the girls told her sister and mother that with their first visit, after they had not been allowed to visit the 3rd floor, she dreamed she went to the 3rd floor anyway, and she and her sister were floating around the room. In her dream, their mother came upstairs and saw the girls, as well as an older lady sitting in a rocking chair. The mother beckoned the girls to come down, and the lady in the rocking chair calmly told the mother that the girls were only playing. After she finished explaining about her dream, the mother and the other sister were both staring at her in dismay and said, "No, that was my dream." So all 3 of them had had the same dream on the same night, but none of them spoke about it until their return to Jenolan Caves years later.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and you can't just leave that up to, like, coincidence.
No way. That's really cool.
Weird, right?
Yeah. Having synchronized dreams.
About the
It's
same
hard.
thing.
Yeah, you can't really say or blame each other on that. Like, oh, you copied me or whatever. It's like
Not at all.
legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah, very strange. So Trish Sanders, the front of house, who I spoke about before, she isn't the only staff member who is vocal about the paranormal experiences that they've had at Jenolan. There is a man named Jeff Melbourne who has primarily been the mouthpiece for all the spooky experiences that at least he's had at the caves. As a cave guide, he's spent many years conducting tours through the caves and basically knows the ins and outs of every tour cave that is open to the public. And he has a lot of stories to tell of creepy and unexplainable things that have happened to him and others while on tours throughout the caves. One evening, having just taken a small group of visitors down a flight of stairs from the Orient Cave, Jeff was in the mud tunnels section of the caves. Suddenly, a big piece of cave crystal came flying over the top of the group and smashed against the wall behind Jeff's head.
Whoa.
"Who threw that?" Jeff asked, annoyed at this point. "Come on, own up." Sometimes on evening tours after a drink or two with dinner, some visitors have been known to do silly things.
Oh, that would be so fucked up to see someone in a tour do that and be like, what
the
hell
fuck
is
are
wrong
you
with
doing? I know. Yep,
Oh my
but
God.
no one owned up to this. Everyone was a bit perplexed about what the fuck had just happened. The following Saturday night, the same thing happened, but with a different group of visitors. At the bottom of the same flight of stairs, a piece of cave crystal came flying over the heads of the group and hit the wall behind Jeff.
Wow.
Who threw that? Again, no one owned up. The next Saturday, Jeff was once again speaking to yet another group at the bottom of the same set of stairs when a much larger piece of crystal, about the size of a cricket ball, came bouncing down the stairs behind him, landing at his feet.
Oh, my God.
With it being behind you as well, you would just wet yourself.
Yeah.
He heard a low chuckle, ha ha ha, coming from the top of the stairs.
No, that's too much.
I know.
That's too much.
I know. He gave his all,
job.
especially when it's like repetitively the same thing. Something is just trying to fuck with you at this point.
Yeah.
He gave his audience a hard stare, but realized they could not have been responsible. Did you hear that? He asked. They said they had heard it too. He ran back up the stairs, expecting to confront a laughing rock thrower. He called out, "Is anyone there?" And utter silence.
Yeah.
He didn't hear footsteps of someone running away. He heard no one's response at all. And he never found the rock thrower, ever. Another experience that Jeff has had was one evening he was taking a small family through the Orient Cave, and it was very quiet. They were in a chamber known as the Well within the Orient Cave, and they were just peering up at a natural dome far above them, admiring the magnificence. Jeff was describing their surroundings when he heard a loud, piercing scream that terrified him. It came from the chamber that they had just left. But everyone who was on his tour was now in the well. The man from the small family said, "What was that noise?" And
so they heard it too.
Yep. Jeff said, "What did you hear?" "Sounded like a woman screaming," the man said, still with fear in his eyes, looking like he was expecting something to leap from the shadows. And Jeff said, "Yep, that's what it sounded like to me."
That is really, really messed up.
That's so fucked up.
Hearing a scream like that.
High-pitched scream, and in a cave, it would just reverberate as well.
Oh, my.
Oh, and you've never been to the cave, so you don't know how quiet it is in these caves. Because it's so...
I don't even think I've been, like, in a cave, like a proper cave before. I don't even think I have.
It's just you're surrounded by solid rock, and so you're completely isolated away from light, sound, temperature. The temperature pretty much stays the same all year round because you're in a cave. It's not really affected by outside influence. So yeah, you're just very isolated, and so to hear a scream like that is just fucking
that's really messed up.
Yeah, really messed up. The children actually started to cry when this happened. And they all decided to leave the cave without finishing the tour because they were just so scared.
Yeah.
Why didn't he check it out? He said that he was absolutely certain there was no one else in the cave. They had just been in the chamber from which the sound had come from, and it's impossible for visitors to get into any of the caves unaccompanied due to gates and locks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And only the guides are able to turn on the lights in the cave as well.
Oh, right.
And there was absolutely no reason for any other staff member to be there at night, which...
It's so far away as well. Jenolan Caves is like there's nothing there.
There's
except
nothing.
For the cave.
Except the caves. So, there's nothing. You are literally driving along isolated, empty road. Like no houses, no shops, accommodation, nothing. There's nothing out there.
No.
So that kind of, cancels out that possibility.
Yeah.
And also, if a member of staff is found to be in the caves out of their working hours, this is instant firing.
Right.
Because the caves are so well protected. If you were to be found in the caves and you work there, you would just be fired on the spot.
I see. So it's got to be like on the books while you're in there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fully protected, as in
That's good.
environmentally protected, and they're like monitored, and they have people coming in doing like surveys and testing and all that stuff. So it's very it's very kind of delicately monitored area. Jeff has had an uncountable amount of he thinks paranormal experiences, ranging from phantom laughing children in the caves to literally being pushed down to the ground by an unseen force. But out of all of Jeff's experiences, the one that he talks about the most and the one that has left the biggest impact on him is his encounter with who he thinks was J.C. Wybird. James Wybird, the keeper of the caves, who I spoke about before.
Yeah.
So he was the keeper of the caves who lived in the cave house when it was first constructed. Mm-hmm. And this is what Jeff said about his experience.
Right.
About a year ago, I was taking a group of visitors through the river cave at Jenolan. It was a regular tour, not one of our ghost tours. The path runs alongside the pool of reflections, one of the main features of the cave. I was leaning over the railing, looking into the crystal clear water, and I saw something shining at the bottom. A bloke standing next to me said, "It's a button." Without looking up and still looking at the object, I said, "You think so?" He said, "It's a button off an old tunic. There's another one over there." I still didn't look up at him. After peering into the water for a few more moments, I looked up and decided to start moving the group along. But I realized there was no one standing right next to me at all. The closest guy was several meters away, and he called out, "What happened to that guy between us?" I said, "What did he look like?" He said he was a tall man wearing like a rumpled grey suit, but there was no sign of the man anywhere. Unfazed by the event, Jeff wished that he'd actually looked at the man that spoke to him.
I bet.
Jeff said, "I thought about it and asked my group and if any of them spoke to me about a button in the water or an old tunic, and no one knew what the hell I was talking about."
Mm-hmm.
Prior to working at Jenolan Caves, Jeff Melbourne worked in the Commonwealth Bank for 32 years.
Wow.
As well as supervisory and management roles in customer service and IT. Mm-hmm. So pretty straightforward bloke. He claims that he did not believe in ghosts at all before working at Jenolan, and it's really only been since having so many unexplained experiences that he started to believe.
Yeah.
The following week, after leading a tour by the same spot by the water, where he saw the button and the man in the grey suit, one member of his tour group said he was glad to get out of that part of the cave that they were just in. When asked why, he told Jeff that in the shadows he had seen someone sitting on a rock watching their group.
No.
Just watching.
No.
Yes. Jeff asked what the person looked like, and the tour member said it was an old, tall man in a grey suit. And this apparently is a thing that's happened more than just this one time. This man in a grey suit is seen sitting on a rock just watching often, but he looks like a real person. But then it's realised that
he's quite solid. Like
solid,
not,
yeah. But then he just kind
really
of disappears.
Yeah. Wow.
So just speculates that these appearances may have been the ghost of James Wybird, who worked for Jenolan for almost 50 years. He was very passionate about his job and the caves. He actually discovered the River Cave, the Pool of Cerberus Cave, Temple of Baal Cave, Orient Cave, and the Ribbon Cave, all at Jenolan while working as the keeper. It's rumoured that his ashes may actually be buried in an inaccessible crevice deep in the cave's labyrinth, to which he just devoted his entire life.
I mean, that makes sense.
Makes sense. Oh, yeah, totally. It all makes sense. You know, he he worked there for so long, and he was so passionate about...
Yeah, he's not going to be like, put my ashes in the ocean, because you're not very close to the ocean there. So be like,
no,
scatter me in the cave.
Oh, in the caves. Yeah, it's perfect. Deep in a crevice somewhere, you know.
Yeah, that's how I want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Deep in a crevice.
Yeah, somewhere that you love.
Yeah.
Since James Wybird's death in 1942, a huge number of guides and visitors have claimed to have experienced fleeting glimpses of a tall man in a suit with a big dark moustache on many different occasions.
Ooh.
And this description fits James Wybird to a T. He had a big moustache and always wore like, a grey suit and, same kind of look every day.
Yeah.
Another bit of phenomena that happens quite a bit at the caves that is also attributed to James Wybird is people being tapped on the shoulder with no one behind them.
Oh, classic trick. Yeah.
Oh, classic. Jeff Melvin says that he can't even count how many times he's had a phantom tap on the shoulder. Though this does seem to happen more to female guides, actually.
Oh, okay.
And apparently it never feels malicious. And a number of the guides who've experienced this say that it feels like, to them, that this is James Wybird saying, hey, you're doing a great job looking after my beloved caves.
Oh.
Which is very nice.
That's nice, yeah.
Although creepy.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, good job. So, yeah, as I've mentioned, I've been to the caves multiple times. And each time I go, I have just the most intense draw to go back almost straight away. And the caves, they pretty much always leave a huge impact on me just for weeks.
Yeah.
It's indescribable. There's really no way to explain Jenolan Caves. It's one of those places that you just have to go to understand how incredible it is, because even looking at the caves inside is amazing, but it almost just feels alive, you know?
Yeah.
The whole area, the landscape, the animals, the caves, the mob, it's all so ancient.
Yeah.
Even just geographically, it's one of the oldest places in the world, and it's just so unique and unlike anything else. To get to the caves, you have to drive down this really long, steep, winding road that is just like totally encompassed by some of the oldest native plant species. And when you actually arrive at the caves, you drive through a huge, imposing, grand arch.
Wow.
The caves are situated in what you could call the base of a gully at the bottom of a mountain, but the feeling you get when you're there is that you're almost in a hole that is surrounded by steep walls of tumbling mountain.
Wow.
Everything is on an angle. When you go into the caves, there is such little light that penetrates the labyrinth that when you're on a tour and the guide purposefully turns out the lights for a minute, you almost feel like you're upside down. It gives you...
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. It's very intense. It gives you a feeling of being so alone, but also just totally surrounded by something.
Yeah.
It's very unnerving. I don't use the term having energy often because it makes me feel too kind of like woo-woo, shanty. But the place has an energy that is indescribable. I could only imagine there is some ancient magic to the place, and this is what's helping the spirits stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so that's the Jenolan Caves, and I feel I could
Oh my
talk just
God.
for hours, and it wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even been there, and I've heard so many amazing stories. Pretty much everyone that's gone there is like, "What do you mean you haven't gone?" It's like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It's so
Yeah.
it's so unique, as you said.
It's so unique.
There is nothing like it anywhere else. It's
No, it's
amazing.
nothing like it.
You've definitely, I've really not even looked into it too much at all, and you've completely sold me. I mean, I always wanted to
Yay.
go anyway. We're going to go a couple years ago, as I said, but
Yeah.
I think it would be really fun to do our own like little tour if possible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. There's also when you go on a tour of the caves, like you have to be with a tour guide, right?
Yeah.
And these people are so passionate about the caves that you can
That's
literally
good.
ask
Yeah.
them any question and they know the answer to it.
That's awesome. I love that when they love and breathe their job.
They
you know?
breathe this
They
shit.
just-
Oh yeah. And there's just so much history behind it. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of the history is kind of the European discovery of it, which,
Yeah.
you know, that's fine. It's interesting.
But it goes so much further than
It's
that. And
so much deeper.
yeah.
And just the place geographically is very, when you're there, it's almost like nerve wracking because you feel like the mountains are just going to landslide onto you. Even driving down the steep road to get there, everything's slanted. And so all the trees are slanted kind of over the road.
That is so weird. Yeah, I mean, I've lived in the Blue Mountains for like over 10 years, and I've never experienced something like what
Oh,
you're
I would
describing.
love for you to go there.
Yeah,
I would love for everyone to go there, but yeah, you got to do it. I mean,
yeah,
I went as a kid. Actually, I've got another thing to say quickly before we wrap it up.
yeah,
But,
sure.
I went as a kid, and I remember the first time I went back as an adult, I left and I was like, I don't want to go. Like, I was so tired and so worn out, but I was like, I can't leave this place. It's just so beautiful. But yeah, something really interesting that happened to me maybe like a year ago.
Right.
I hadn't been to the caves in literally years. I hadn't been in such a long time. And one day I was like feeling really like strange and kind of like bleh. And it was just me and Panda at home. And I was like, you know what? We should go to Jenolan Caves. Like, haven't been in so long. And it's a beautiful drive out there. And it means that I can kind of just like listen to a podcast while I'm driving. It'll be really nice. A great day out. Put Panda in the car, put myself in the car, started driving, and I put on one of my favorite podcasts, which is called Scared to Death, and it's another paranormal podcast, but they're American, and they're really big. They've got so many listeners.
They're huge.
Oh,
yeah.
they're fucking huge. Anyway, I was driving. I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to a Scared to Death podcast. I put on an episode, and they do multiple stories. It's two hosts, multiple stories each in an episode. The first story that they started talking about was Jenolan Caves.
No way.
I was like driving to Jenolan Caves and they started talking about Jenolan Caves.
That is so random.
I know.
What?
I hadn't been to the caves in years, and just out of nowhere, I was
so
like,
many episodes as well.
they've
like,
got so
what?
many episodes and multiples, like about 6 different stories in each episode. So
Yep.
out of all the episodes and all the stories, like this is, and I was like, what the fuck? I literally had not even thought of the caves in
just to see your face in the
years.
car, hearing them say that, you'd be like,
No,
what?
I know. It was wild. I actually wrote them an email saying, you wouldn't believe it. And they replied, which was really nice. But yeah.
That's awesome.
So great episode this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your photos you pick for this as well. I think it will. A lot of people, I mean, half of our listeners aren't from Australia. So I think this will be a really cool, I think it's a really good story for them to kind of look into, look at the pictures and get some more history on it. Because, if you ever come over to Australia, you have to go.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
have to do it.
Yeah.
Even the drive out there, it's like, what, an hour and a half drive or something from where I am or from Katoomba or something. So before you even get to the real windy, steep road, it's a beautiful drive because you're up really
it'd be
high.
so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Great episode.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good to get back into it now. You know, had a little break.
Had a listener story episode.
Yeah.
And now we're back to our regular programming. It feels good.
Yeah, that's right. It does. So, yeah. Glad to have you guys back on board with us this year. And, yeah, check out our website. We've got all of our links to all our socials. If you want to support us, check out our Patreon. But yeah, if you want to reach out to us as well, you can get us on spookymountainpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
All
cool.
right.
We'll speak to you guys next week.
All right, we'll speak at you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This episode of Spooky Mountain was created and recorded on land of the original custodians, the Gundungurra and Bidjigal people. We pay respects to the past, present, and emerging mob. My name is Jordi, and I'm a proud Gunya woman. Thank you for listening.